Hello everyone, welcome back to the lecture video session on the nominal pi method performance analysis of medium transmission line. In the previous session, we have discussed about the other two methods where end condenser method and then the nominal T methods were discussed, and then the previous session we were discussing about the nominal pi method, where we found that the efficiency, percentage efficiency, we have arrived at the formula as P divided by P plus 3IL square, P plus 3IL 3 into IL square R into 100, whereas the percentage regulation is nothing but mod of VR at no load minus mod of VR at full load divided by mod of VR at full load multiplied by 100. It can also be calculated with the help of the sending end voltages. VR at no load can be expressed in terms of the Vs, and then the line impedance that is Vs divided by R plus jXL minus 2j divided by omega c, the multiplied by minus 2j divided by omega c. So here we can see that the VR at no load, that is the sending end receiving end voltage, is expressed in terms of the sending end voltage. After understanding how to calculate the percentage efficiency as well as the regulation, we can solve a small problem, that is one problem based on this data that is given. So let's solve one problem to have very good understanding of the concept that we have discussed, that is on the end condenser method, nominal T method, and then the nominal pi method. Let's go with this. Three-phase 50 Hertz 150 kilometer transmission line has the following constants. Resistance per phase per kilometer is 0.1 ohm. Reactance per phase per kilometer is 0.5 ohms. Capacitance, capacitive shunt admittance per phase per kilometer is 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 mho. And if the line supplies a load of 50 megawatt at 0.8 power factor, lag at 110 kilovolts at the receiving end, calculate by using nominal pi method. Two things we can observe here in the tutorial problem, while writing in the examination, while tackling in the examination. First, focus on the method that is asked, whether it is a nominal pi method or end condenser method or it is nominal T method, and also find out that what is the length of the transmission line that is given, which is going to give us a clue that which method needs to be followed, and further the calculations will become very simple. Now in this particular problem, they're asking us to calculate the sending end current, sending end voltage, and the sending end power factor. Let's write the diagram which is for the pi method. And in the pi method, we have understood that the capacitance is hard, and assume that it exists on either side of the total impedance of the line, and it is assumed that it exists at the sending end, and as well as half of the capacitance exists at the receiving end. So based on this assumption, we have written the diagram, and we have marked IL, ICT2, IC2, and then IC1, VR, and then the C by 2 on either end, R and XL, which is nothing but the resistance per phase, and then the inductive reactance per phase, and IS is the sending end current. Now all the data are given. It is pretty simple problem, and then the straightforward problem, and R is nothing but equal to 0.1 ohms per kilometer per phase, that is 150 kilometers. So multiplied and then get the value for the entire 150 kilometers, that is 15 ohms. Now XL is equal to, follow the same step, 0.5 into 150, it is equal to 75 ohms. Admittance of the line, that is admittance of this particular line, is YC. It is given as 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 per kilometer per phase again. So multiplied by 150, its total admittance for 150 kilometers calculated, and then it is found to be 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 mho. Now YC divided by 2 is nothing but 4.5 into 10 raised to minus 4 by 2. It is total receiving end voltage is 110 kilovolts, that is 110 into 10 to the power 3 divided by root 3, and that calculates to around 63508.52 volts. Now receiving end load current, that is receiving end load current, can be calculated as IR, which is flowing through the receiving end, that is nothing but equal to power delivered divided by root 3 into VR into cos phi r. This is the formula that we have derived in the earlier So IR is equal to power delivered divided by root 3 into VR into cos phi r. Power delivered is given as 50 megawatt, that is 50 into 10 raised to 6 divided by root 3 into 110 VR, 110 into 10 to the power 3 multiplied by cos phi r is given as 0.8. Calculate the value of the current, receiving end current. IR is equal to 328 amperes. But what is the angle? 328 at an angle of minus cos inverse 0.8. Calculate the angle, then it comes to IR is nothing but 328 at an angle minus 36.86 degrees amperes. Now IC1 is nothing but equal to J into omega C into VR. So here, so in the place of C, we will get C divided by 2. In the place of omega, we get 2 pi f because the frequency of the line is known, and J into omega into C divided by 2 into VR. Now IC1 is nothing but equal to C divided by 2 and omega by omega. So here we can say that J into YC divided by 2 into omega VR. Omega into C divided by 2 is nothing but equal to YC divided by 2 because admittance. So here J into 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 4 is the admittance of the line, that is given 4.5 into 10 raised to minus 4 divided by 2 into VR is calculated as 63508.52 at an angle 0 degrees. Now calculate the entire values, and then we can conclude that IC1 is the current that is flowing through the capacitance is equal to J into 14.29 amperes. That is J 14.29 amperes. Now, so we have found out what is the sending end current IS and what is the sending end voltage VS, and then the sending end power factor is also found out. Yes. Now, let's consider the second example where we are solving a problem using the nominal T method. 3-phase 50 Hz overhead transmission line, 100 km long, has the following constants: 0.1 ohms, and then the inductive reactance is 0.2 ohms. Capacitive susceptance is per kilometer per phase is 0.4 into 10 to the power minus 14 Siemens. Determine sending end current, sending end voltage, sending end power factor, transmission efficiency when supplying a balanced load of 10,000 kilowatt at 66 kilovolts with a power factor of 0.8 lagging. Use nominal T method. In the nominal T method, we all know that we have understood that the capacitance is at the center point, and then it is assumed to be existing at the center of the line. So that the entire impedance of the transmission line is divided into two halves on either side of the capacitance. Now, based on this, we have written the diagram, equivalent diagram: R divided by 2, XL by 2, and the C, V1 is the voltage across the capacitance, Vs is the sending end voltage, and then the VR is the receiving end voltage. So R is nothing but 0.1 for 100 kilometers, it is 10 ohms. For XL for 100 kilometers is 0.2 into 120 ohms, and YC is given as 0.4 into 10 to the power minus 4 into 100, 4 into 10 to the power minus 13 mho, and VR at an angle 0 degrees, 66 megawatt, 66,000 divided by root 3, that is the value that we are going to find out, line value, and then 38,105.118 at an angle 0 degrees volts. Power delivered is equal to root 3 into VR IR cos phi r. IR is equal to 10,000 into 10 to the power 3 divided by root 3 into VR is 66,000 kilovolts, that is 66 kV, and multiplied by 0.8. IR is calculated as 109.34 amperes, and the angle is minus cos inverse of 0.8, so minus 36.86 degree amperes. Now, after calculating the IR, we can calculate the VR. That is, V1 is the current that is across the, V1 is the voltage across the capacitance, that is V1 is nothing but the VR plus IR into Z divided by 2. Now, Z divided by 2 means R by 2 plus J into XL divided by 2, because Z by 2 exists on either side of the capacitance. Now, calculate, we will get V1 is equal to 39,202.241 at an angle 0.7991 degrees volts. Now, after calculating V1, we can calculate IC. IC is nothing but equal to J into YC So Vs is equal to V1 plus Is into Z divided by 2, found out to be 40306.56 degrees, 56 volts. So after calculating the phase value of the sending end voltage, we can definitely calculate the receiving end voltage, that is nothing but line value of the sending end voltage is nothing but equal to root 3 into 40306, that is 40.30 kilovolts. So we can calculate it as 69.81 kilovolts. So now what is the power factor, that is the power factor angle between Vs and Is is nothing but equal to, from this phasor diagram we can show this, yeah, here. VR and Vs are separated by an angle of 1.55 degrees, which we have calculated here, 1.55 degrees, and IR is at an angle of 36.86 degrees, that is VIS is at an angle of 36.86 degrees from VR. Now after calculating these two, we can definitely calculate the power factor angle between Vs and Is, which is nothing but 1.55 degrees plus 36.86 degrees, that is Vs and Is is equal to 38.41 degrees. Now power factor at the sending end is nothing but cos phi s. Cos of phi s is 38.41.7835 lakh. Now what is the total line loss? Total line loss is nothing but 3 into Is square into R divided by 2 plus 3 into IR square divided by into R divided by 2. That is 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 the sending end current, IR is the receiving end current. 3 into R divided by 2 is common. So into Is square plus IR square. Now calculate, we will get total line losses as 388.657 kilowatt. After calculating the line losses and the power delivered, we can calculate the percentage transmission line efficiency, that is percentage transmission efficiency is equal to power delivered divided by power delivered from the sending end plus losses. So power delivered at the receiving end is 10,000 divided by 10,000 plus losses is 388.657. Total percentage efficiency, transmission efficiency is calculated as 96.25%. So far we have calculated the percentage transmission efficiency using the nominal T method. The key points to carry with this lecture video is how to calculate the transmission line efficiency using the different methods, how to calculate the voltage regulation using nominal T method, nominal pi method, as well as end condenser method. And the most important points to remember is that in the T method, the total transmission line impedance is considered to be halved on either side of the capacitance. In the pi method, nominal pi method, the total capacitance, line capacitance that is supposed to be existing is assumed to be halved on either side of the total line impedance. So with this we will be able to understand how to do the performance analysis of the medium transmission line, wherein the length of the medium transmission line is from between 50 to 100 kilometers, and then the voltage carrying capacity of the medium transmission line is over and above 80 kilovolts, or we can say that it is above 20 kilovolts. We can see that the most important point what we have seen is that in the end condenser method, the capacitance is overestimated and it is expected to contribute towards correcting the power factor at the receiving end, and that is in turn it is going to be the disadvantage of the particular assumption method that what we are thinking of. And with this we will be able to understand the different type of methods of performance analysis, and most importantly the voltage carrying capacity of the medium transmission line is more than 20 kilovolts, and the length of the transmission line is between 50 to 100 kilometers. That's why we are going to consider the effect of the capacitance as one of the major influencing factor in terms of calculating the efficiency and then the regulation. Thank you so much for this session, and let's see you in the next session with the performance analysis of the long transmission line, where the rigorous method is used and then the different methods are used, and